Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back after the Christmas break, as it were. I once gave a lecture with the same title as this one, Does God Believe in Human Rights? And somebody remarked rather sardonically, well, it'll be a very short lecture then. Maybe a short lecture because my voice will give out, so you can hear something a bit funny. I've got plenty of water here, but it won't be its normal strength, I'm afraid, which might possibly be a relief. Now, the drive to get human rights acknowledged in theory and observed in practice is, I believe, one of the great historical movements of our time. When future historians look back on our age, I think that they will single out the 1948 United Nations Declaration on Human Rights and what followed from it as one of the outstanding achievements of our time. Now, of course, the terrible violations of human rights all over the world, or still so many places, but the point is that there is now an internationally agreed benchmark. Although the human rights as a concept is particularly associated with the Enlightenment of the 17th century, in fact, if you think about it, any system of law implies some kind of rights. After all, if you have a law forbidding stealing, it implies you have some kind of right to your own property. If you have a law forbidding murder or battering other people, again, it implies some kind of right to a reasonable degree of protection from other people. But leaving aside law for the moment, I think one of the first points I want to make is that human rights are embedded in moral insights. Now, I know that there are lawyers who take, as it were, the philosophical view of law, that the only law is simply what lawmakers make it. From the standpoint of the Christian tradition, all laws are ultimately grounded in the eternal law of God, which is reflected in what the Church down the ages has called natural law. Now, natural law is a very disputed philosophical concept, as well as theologically disputed. And certainly in some forms, I think myself, in some forms that the Roman Catholic Church adopts, which suggests you can simply read off what is God's natural law by looking at nature, what nature does. I think that's a very mistaken or exaggerated idea. But what I mean by natural law is that the capacity for moral discernment is innate to us human beings. All human beings in all human cultures have some kind of capacity for discerning right and wrong, whatever the differences there may be between different cultures. Now, I said that the concept of natural law has been not only philosophically disputed, but theologically disputed. It was particularly disputed at the Reformation because the Reformers took the view that human beings are so fallen and, as it were, mired in sinfulness that outside Christ it's simply not possible for people to have any true understanding of what is right or wrong. But I suggest to you that actually that is a very unbiblical view. St. Paul, for example, in one of his letters says, "When Gentiles who do not possess the law carry out its precept by the light of nature, then although they have no law, they are their own law. They show that what the law requires is inscribed on their hearts, and to this their conscience gives supporting witness, since their own thoughts argue the case, sometimes against them and sometimes even for them." It seems to me quite clear from that and other statements that St. Paul believed that all human beings, by virtue of our capacity for being human, have some sort of ability to grasp moral notions and recognize them for what they are.